After taking a long break from the music industry, Lorde has finally dropped the lead single and title track of her third studio album, Solar Power. On the surface, the song is a love letter to summer vibes and days at the beach, a stark contrast to the darker themes we've come to expect from Lorde over the years. But look a little closer, and I'm pretty sure there's much more to this song than first meets the eye. Before I break down my thoughts, it's worth mentioning that in her time away, Lorde has become more connected to nature than ever before. She's even travelled to Antarctica, wrote a book about it, and has been very vocal about the consequences of global warming. So it seems a little odd, don't you think, that she's kicking off an album inspired by all of this, with lyrics about hating the winter? Well, that's until you realise that everything you see and hear in Solar Power is a lie. Okay, well, maybe not a lie exactly, but definitely not as it first seems. Let me explain. First, let's start with what the song is actually about. So, solar literally translates to of the sun. So, solar power is essentially just a different way of saying power of the sun. Now, in Lorde Solar Power, we see a positive portrayal of the sun's power, as she sings about how the summer makes her feel free, happy and careless, almost like she's able to bury her head in the sand and just forget about all her worries. Thing is though, no one else in the music video is looking all that happy. In fact, Lorde's surrounded by people who look pretty miserable. They even seem to worship Lorde like she's some kind of leader. So, what's going on here exactly? Well, what if I told you that Lorde isn't actually Lorde in this music video at all, and that she's actually a representation of the sun, hence the bright yellow dress? And what if I said that everyone surrounding her is some kind of abstract representation of sun worshippers, people who love the sun, hence their cult-like behaviour towards Lorde, like carrying her and getting a sun stamp on their hands? That would explain the lyrics, "I'm kinda like a prettier Jesus," "lead the boys and girls onto the beaches," and "blink 3 times when you feel it," as they demonstrate how Lorde, or the sun, is like a cult leader that's worshipped by and influences the masses. So, if Lorde is the sun, and her dancers are her worshippers, what's the message? Well, I think Lorde is showing us how people are far too quick to celebrate and worship the warm weather, without actually taking into account the negative power of the sun in terms of global warming. Hence how the song is linked to Lorde's trip to Antarctica, which is arguably the most vulnerable continent to rising temperatures. Why do I think that? Well, because Lorde has left us quite a few clues to suggest that's the case. Firstly, in the music video, Lorde is very distracting. She's dancing around, jumping in front of the camera, and making sure that she's the centre of attention at all times. Could this be to show us how the sun, or nice weather, distracts us and stops people from seeing the truth of global warming? I think so. In one frame, we even see Lorde move the camera away from a pile of plastic on the beach, as if to show us how the sun makes us ignorant to the impact of plastic pollution on the environment. Some of the lyrics themselves also tie into the theme of denying, or even just outright ignoring global warming. "I hate the winter, can't stand the cold," for example, is often the attitude people have towards rising temperatures. "Overripe peaches" could link into how global warming is damaging fruit and natural resources. "Acid green, aquamarine" could be in reference to the acidification of our oceans, which is caused by global warming. And "throw my cell phone into the water" could easily be a commentary on how humans throw unwanted technology and plastic into the oceans. Need a little more convincing of this theory? Well, first, Solar Power was released on the same day as the only solar eclipse of 2021, as if to draw attention to the power of the sun. There's also a rumour that the album will be released on the 24th of June, Midsummer's Day, which is an annual celebration of summer. Midsummer also just happens to be the name of a 2019 horror film that's based on a radical cult that looks very similar to the aesthetic of Lorde's music video. Could this perhaps be showing us that just like in the film, there are darker themes in Solar Power lying beneath the surface? And let's not forget, solar power itself is a play on words in reference to renewable energy, which is one of the best ways we can hold back global warming. But that's not all. There's also the high sea levels in the video's thumbnail, the apathetic group of onlookers who stand back and do nothing about it, the dying tree under the sun, and other subliminal messages like the single's artwork, for example, which I think represents how the nice weather, represented by Lorde, can seduce people into turning a blind eye to rising temperatures. You could say the cover is quite literally Lorde's way of turning up the heat to show us the seductive nature of the sun even when it's damaging, just like how the music industry can often objectify women's bodies while the masses lap it up. But if this theory is right and solar power is about global warming, why has Lorde been so vocal about enjoying the warmer weather recently? Does she actually hate the summer and not the winter? Well, I don't think so. I think after visiting Antarctica, Lorde has had to challenge her own views on summer and the heat. She loves relaxing on the beach on a summer's day, just like the video shows us, but at the same time she started to realise how warm weather is bittersweet. It might be enjoyable, but it's destroying Mother Nature. She's talked about this in an essay for Metro magazine, where she describes sitting on beaches enjoying the sun whilst reading books about the consequence of global warming. And that's why solar power shines a light on two different perspectives. First, the positive power of the sun in terms of the enjoyment it brings, and second, the destructive power of the sun in terms of the impact on the world, both of which exist at once, hence why fighting global warming is so difficult, because its consequences can be easy to ignore. That's why I think Lorde is playing two roles in solar power. She's the destructive sun, but also the sun worshipper, which is a clever way of blurring the lines and talking about global warming from the perspective of someone who passively contributes, or at least accepts the problem. Think all of this is a bit of a reach? Well, Lorde herself has said there's a comical amount of detail in this upcoming era, and that she's even created a cinematic universe to tell the story of solar power, both of which points to it being a really intricate and complex piece of work, which, let's be honest, a song about relaxing at the beach probably isn't. So, long story short, solar power, in my opinion, is about how sunny days, warm weather, days at the beach, and the seductive power of the sun are distracting and stopping the world from taking action against climate change. If I'm right, I can't wait to see what's ahead. An album about global warming, the natural world, and working out the problems it faces, I think could be Lorde's best work to date. And on that note, what do you think Lorde Solar Power is all about? Do you agree with my theory? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe if you've enjoyed today's video. I'll be uploading more content digging into all things pop music very soon. So, I'll see you next time.